Benjamin Netanyahu looks strong on the world stage. He struck Iran, rallied his military, and even got praised by the New York Times for what they called a political resurrection. To some, it seemed like the culmination of his comeback, his return to dominance after years of scandal and political deadlock. But inside Israel, the picture couldn't be more different. This week, Netanyahu's government lost two of its key partners. That leaves him with just 50 out of 120 seats in the Knesset. He no longer has a functioning majority. In simple terms, Netanyahu can't pass laws. His coalition is dead in all but name. And Israel? It's now drifting toward yet another election, most likely in early 2026. So, how did it all fall apart so quickly? And what role is Donald Trump playing in the unraveling of Netanyahu's fragile rule? Let's start with the ultra-Orthodox draft crisis, the issue that's lighting up Israeli politics like never before. For years, the ultra-Orthodox community, or Haredim, have been largely exempt from military service. Most young Israeli men and women are conscripted into the army. But ultra-Orthodox men are allowed to study religious texts full-time in government-funded yeshivas. It's a decades-old deal, and Netanyahu has protected it religiously, no pun intended, because the ultra-Orthodox parties are key to his power. But everything changed after October 7th, with Israel fighting on multiple fronts, in Gaza, on the northern border with Hezbollah, and facing ongoing unrest in the West Bank. Military manpower is stretched thin. There's growing resentment. Even Netanyahu's own voters are now saying, "Why should my son fight and risk his life, while their sons study and collect a state salary?" The Israeli Supreme Court stepped in too, ruling that the exemption violates the principle of equality. They've demanded new legislation. But any attempt to end the exemption risks blowing up Netanyahu's coalition. So what did he do? He tried to fudge it. Netanyahu proposed a bill that would technically draft some ultra-Orthodox men, but in reality, it included so many loopholes that nothing would change. The plan backfired. The law didn't pass, Likud lawmakers pushed back, and the ultra-Orthodox parties decided they'd had enough, for now. They walked away from the government, though they haven't yet forced new elections. They're waiting to see if Netanyahu can still deliver. So that's one side of the crisis. On the other side, the far right. Netanyahu's coalition includes Itamar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich, two ultranationalists who have pushed Israeli politics to its most extreme point in decades. Their vision for Gaza? It isn't peace. It isn't even occupation. It's expulsion. It's population transfer. They want to clear out Palestinians and build Jewish settlements in their place. This idea is not just controversial, it's wildly unpopular with most Israelis, including many on the right. It would spark global outrage, fuel violence, and permanently isolate Israel on the world stage. But Netanyahu needs Ben-Gvir and Smotrich. If he supports a hostage deal that ends the war, they walk. If he keeps fighting endlessly in Gaza, he loses public support and faces American pressure. And here's where Trump enters the picture. Donald Trump, now back in the White House, is calling Netanyahu and telling him, enough, end the war, make a deal, release the hostages, stabilize the region. Why? It's not about morality. It's about oil prices, China, and US elections. Trump wants quiet in the Middle East so he can focus on his domestic agenda and geopolitical rivals. Another prolonged Gaza war doesn't help him. This puts Netanyahu in a bind. Ignore Trump, and he risks losing his most powerful ally. Obey him, and his coalition falls apart. So what's Netanyahu doing? He's stalling. The Knesset goes on summer recess on July 27th. No parliamentary sessions, no votes, no new elections until the fall. That gives Netanyahu a 3-month breathing window. He might try to announce a ceasefire before the recess, hoping the far right can't immediately bring him down. Or he may try to quietly lure his former partners back into the fold. But let's be honest, it's a desperate game. Netanyahu won the last election with just 48.4% of the vote, benefiting from the quirks of Israel's electoral system. Since April 2023, polls have been sliding downhill. Not even the highly publicized airstrikes on Iran have improved his popularity. He's become the prisoner of his own political survival strategy, a tactician without a vision, a leader held hostage by the very groups that helped him cling to power. And now, even Trump, the one man Netanyahu thought he could always count on, is pushing him toward an outcome that could destroy what's left of his coalition. Europe is watching this closely. On the one hand, Netanyahu's fall could bring a reset, perhaps even a centrist government more open to dialogue. But the risks are just as high. A collapsing Israeli government, with extremists waiting in the wings, could destabilize the region even further. And let's not forget, Iran, Hezbollah, and Hamas are still active threats. So here we are. Netanyahu is still in office, but he's not really in charge. He's juggling draft rebellions, far-right fantasies, court orders, and Trump's phone calls, all while the clock ticks toward his political end. How long can he keep this up? If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out WesternRelations.com for sharp, original political analysis from Europe, the US, and beyond.